stay with us. I'm Bill Tucker. He's Jonathan Gillum. And we're going to continue the conversation on taxes now, but we're going to do it with a congressman, so maybe we can get a better sense of what's going on. You know, President Trump promises to give Americans a huge tax cut for Christmas. And wouldn't we all, in fact, like that? Okay, let's bring in New York Congressman Republican Peter King to see if, in fact, Peter, will we get a big, giant, huge Christmas present from the president and from the Congress? Welcome to the show, sir.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
It's great to be with you. There are obviously little partisan bickering parts that are going on here with the tax bill. That's not surprising. I don't think that's anything that should surprise us. You, in fact, disagree with some of the tax bill in its current form, most specifically the salty part of this, the state and local taxes part of this. And I understand you're in New York, I'm New Jersey. I get it. Jonathan's New York as well. What do you think the chances are we're going to get some resolution on this? Are we going to get a full tax reform bill?
Yeah, listen, I want to vote for a tax cut bill. If I had been in Congress in the 1960s, I would have voted for John Kennedy's tax cuts. If I had been in Congress in the 80s, I would have voted with Ronald Reagan. I believe the tax cuts work, especially if they're across the board. But in this case, it's not going to be a tax cut for New York and New Jersey. We are going to, in effect, get a tax increase for many of our constituents because of taking away the state and local tax deduction. I think there's a chance in the Senate. First of all, we got to keep the fight up. I don't know if they're going to have such an easy time getting to the 50 votes they need in the Senate. And I know Susan Collins is proposing that if they added maybe 1 or 2% onto the corporate tax, so reducing it not from 35 to 20, but maybe 35 to 22 or 21, that there would be extra money in there to be able to afford. I think they should afford it anyway, but they could, on the books, afford restoring the state and local tax deduction. It's just not fair to penalize states, which really get a raw deal all the time anyway. We, in New York, we get 79 cents back on the dollar for every federal dollar we send in, and every dollar we send to the federal government, which means we have about a $48 billion deficit of payments every year with the federal government. And the guys in New Jersey have it even worse. They get 61 cents back on the dollar. And so the only way to bring about any equity is by having the SALT deduction, state and local tax deduction. And so I just think it was wrong to do it the way they did it. So I think if it does become stalemated in the Senate, one way to get extra votes could be to restore the state and local tax deduction, and they could do that by moving some of the other numbers around. I don't think anything should be sacrosanct if you're going to be giving a tax increase to people in the states that are among the most productive in the country, to increase the tax on our constituents when the rest of the country is getting a tax cut. So there's some reason for optimism here, and the worst thing we could do now is to give up the fight.
All right, we have very little time left, so let me ask you this. Would you be in favor of shelving the individual side of this if we can't move on that, in doing the corporate deal without moving on the individual part of the equation? Would you be in favor of that?
I probably would, even though that would never happen politically. You have to provide some middle-income tax relief to people. And I still think we can do it. We can do it. It doesn't have to be maybe the wholesale tax cut program they have now, but do it in a way that everyone gets some kind of a tax cut. And that, combined with the corporate tax cut and the repatriation of money from overseas, that can really cause the economy to grow. So I would rather have a smaller tax cut for individuals.
Congressman King, thank you much for your time. We're hitting a wall. We got to get out of here. We're going to take a break, but first, Newsmax TV brings you back in time to a big turning point in the Revolutionary War.